Can I be heard?
Oh, yeah.
Good, I thought I could. Okay, thank you, Wayne. And I have to admit right now, I came in a bit late, so I didn't hear the rules.
Here you are.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my name is Fiona McMahon, and I'm from Welland. And as Wayne knows, I've been heavily involved in the fight against hospital restructuring in Niagara. And I bring you good news from Welland, if you can possibly imagine such a thing. At last night's meeting of council, Councillor Frank Campion put forward 2 resolutions dealing with the NHS and the HIP. The first was a motion to support the Niagara Falls resolution of December, I believe, that called for an investigation of the NHS, and your council in Fort Erie, as well as the councils of Waynfleet and Port Corbin, have, of course, supported this very sensible resolution that we all need. The second resolution calls for the setting up of a standing committee of Welland Council to deal with Welland's future hospital and health services needs, and basically to fight the HIP, the NHS, the LIN, the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. Guess what? Both resolutions passed unanimously. I thought Frank was going to have to call for an ambulance to be taken to the Welland General. It's never happened. Our council has been split down the middle for at least the last year, with 6 on our side, 6 on the other side, and the mayor voting on the other side. So, as I said to Doug Draper, what a difference an election year makes. And I just want to thank the good citizens of Fort Erie and its wonderful leadership, both citizen and, I guess, semi-official, for being so damn noisy about the inequities of the HIP and the NHS. Because now, guess what? Welland's on board, whether certain council members like it or not. It's officially on board, and you damn well keep the Welland Council's feet to the fire. Please. Okay, my own personal story isn't about health services here, but it's a bit of a warning. I've just come down from Ottawa. I spent 10 days up there with my sister and brother-in-law. All my family's in Ottawa. My 92-year-old dad had been living on his own in East Ottawa in a 3-bedroom apartment he shared with my mom until her death in 1998. He's a pretty healthy old codger and very independent, so I backed him up 4 years ago when the rest of the family said, time to move to a retirement home, Dad. And I said, no, he's proud of the fact that, that he can cook. I didn't realize quite that he couldn't really clean. Anyway, having given up his car a couple of years ago, it was beginning to be obvious that we did need to help him find a retirement home. But he still has all his faculties. Slight problem, I mean the very beginnings of congestive heart failure, but seriously only the very beginnings. He really needed supportive living. Everything went out the window, went over Christmas. He fell really, really sick. Went to his GP, went home, got sick again, and so on. And my sister eventually called an ambulance on New Year's Eve, which took him to the Montfort General, which is a francophone hospital, but is very close to where he lives. He was really lucky. He didn't spend 2 days in Emerge or in the corridor. He was very lucky to see a very good doctor in emergency who got him admitted to the surgical unit. He stayed there for a week, undergoing all kinds of tests, and a week ago he had a surgery to remove a mass from his lower bowel. Since that day, we have had no information at all as to what his prognosis is and to what that surgery showed. Now, apparently, it's fairly typical for pathology to take that long to come back with a report. Problem we've got is this. This is a guy living on his own who certainly won't be able to go on living on his own. My sister and I were called to meet with something called a discharge planner, a very snotty young woman who told us that the minute my dad is deemed not to be urgent care, acute care, he becomes alternate level of care. And what she wanted to show us was what he would have to pay, because he could afford it, as soon as he comes off acute care, wherever he is, according to her, he starts paying. They said they were looking for a long-term care bed for him. I said, that's not appropriate. He doesn't need a nursing home. He needs convalescence. He needs complex continuing care, they call it now. Where are those beds? Well, today, in the Ottawa Citizen, there's a long article that says that 2 of the hospitals that are part of the Ottawa Hospital Group, that doesn't include my dad's yet, are moving elderly patients from the hospital who are past the acute care stage into the long-term care units of a new private retirement home. In other words, what's happening is rehab in the Ottawa area, rehab beds are closing and there's not nearly enough of it. So this is just my warning to all of you to keep your eye on what's happening in terms of rehabilitation here.